So back in February, Game decided to end trade-ins, and I made a video and I said that that was probably the end of Game and that they would probably run for another few months until something would happen again and they would either go completely or they would go downhill further. Well, something has happened and it looks like they're going to go downhill further before they will move away and die altogether. This is coming from VGC, which is the videogamechronicle.com. Now there's a lot to unpack here, so I mean feel free to jump ahead in the comments if you want, but what I'm about to say and what I will say in this video will probably answer any questions that you do have, so just bear that in mind before you start clamoring down on the keyboard. So this news is actually coming from Gfinity Esports, and someone said there that the retail chain was going to stop selling physical products, and by products they mean video games. So I'm reading off the website as I say this, that's why I'm looking away from the screen, but essentially it says instead players will only be able to buy hardware and physical software that they pre-order to their preferred store. So for example, if I wanted to pre-order the latest Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever game I want to buy, I can do that and have it sent to my local store, which I think in this case is probably Cardiff, and then I could go into the Cardiff store, or Cardiff Sports Direct, up to the top, walk into the game section and then pick up my game there. But if I wanted to buy it day one and hadn't pre-ordered it, I couldn't do that. I'd have to pre-order it and hope that they had enough there, or I'd have to have it ordered in. Either way, it looks like you're not going to be able to walk into a game and buy a game. So at the moment, as we all know, Game is currently a mix of video games, no longer pre-owned, and board games and plushes, and there are some phones in some stores. There's a lot of gaming sort of paraphernalia, lights and such, and it's sort of becoming more of a 70-30 split between these. 30% being the video games, 70% being the bloat that they put around the video games to make the store look bigger. And that's only getting worse now that they've got rid of pre-owned. There are an awful number of things going wrong at Game, not just the fact that they got rid of pre-owned. They announced in April that they were cutting down staff. It was an unspecified number of staff, and I'm not 100% sure whether we do have exact numbers now. However, it was all non-managerial personnel, or at least a lot of them were going to go down to 0-hour contracts if they were kept on. Meaning, of course, they could go weeks and months without doing any work whatsoever, and of course they wouldn't get paid for it. They're essentially just on a retainer by Game that if they're ever needed, they could bring them in. So for example, on a big launch of a video game, they could say, look, we'll bring you in for 4 hours on the Friday, you and 2 or 3 other of the 0 hours can come in and you can do your shift, get us through the busy periods, and then you can bugger off and the managers can do the rest. Because they're not very big stores anymore, because they're just pigeonholed into the back of Sports Direct. Of course, we've already mentioned that they no longer do pre-owned. That in itself is a massive deal. Coupled with the staffing issue, things are starting to go downhill. However, they also did something else that no one else saw coming, and that was to get rid of the rewards program. Now, I don't really know much about the rewards program. I don't think I ever partook in it, but essentially every time you bought something, you would scan a rewards card, much like, I don't know, like a Tesco club card kind of deal, really, where they would put points on your card, and every number of point would accumulate to a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. You know how rewards work. Well, seemingly, these are going away. And in fact, they are going away on the 15th of July, and you only have until the 31st of July to use these points, which I think is a little bit ridiculous, the fact that they're only giving you 2 weeks after they stop doing it to actually use them. It would make far more sense if they said, look, we're going to give people 12 months to use them, because I would imagine some people have a lot. I would imagine some people won't even know about this news or even see this. They've not given people enough time to react to this. Now, this wasn't announced in the last couple of days. This has been out there for a little while, but still, it's a little bit unfair to say, look, 31st of July, tough. If you haven't used them, they're gone. I am reading as well that Game still have 320 standalone / concession stores. So of course they do still have a few standalone stores that are in high streets, for example. The majority of them are in Sports Direct. I think a few were in House of Fraser at one point. I don't even think House of Fraser is still a thing, but only 320 still exist. Now, the reason I said at the beginning not to jump ahead and to start sort of commenting before I finish speaking, if you will, is because there has been an update to this story, and that is from a Game spokesperson who said, this report from Gfinity Esports is categorically not True, Game continues to support the physical gaming market, offering a wide range of physical games, hardware, software, accessories, and digital products in stores and online. Now, where have we heard this before? They did this when the pre-owned thing happened. They came out and they went, no, that's not what we're going to do at all. Don't worry, pre-owned it's gone. So they did, okay, maybe they didn't do something exactly the same, but it was very similar. They sort of reaffirmed people, don't worry, don't listen to rumours sort of thing. And then a couple of weeks later, it was actually confirmed that yes, this is happening. So if you put everything together here, you start sort of trying to piece together the puzzle, it makes perfect sense that Game are doing this. I say Game are doing this. The Fraser Group, which own Game essentially, cut them all the way down and then stuck them in Sports Direct stores, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And now they're trying to dilute it further. They're getting rid of pre-owned because it's too complicated for staff to understand what's happening in Sports Direct as well as Game. They want to hire staff who can do both. And I would imagine eventually they will get rid of the till inside these Game stores, and they will just say, look, you can go to the one till. In fact, they may have already done that already. You can go to the one till that operates for Sports Direct and for Game. It's basically all the same thing. And by getting rid of physical games, there will be no need for the staff to have the games behind the counter, because whatever you take to them, whether it be a plush or a board game or a pre-order or something, it'll all be on the back ready, or they can just scan it what's in front of them. That was the reason by getting rid of pre-owned, so they wouldn't have to deal with trade-ins. It does look like that they're just going to get rid of games in general. Yes, you can buy digital like gift cards and things. Maybe you can pre-order them, have them sent to the store so that you can pick them up, much like you can with like JD, for example. I want a pair of trainers that they don't have in my local JD. I can go on the website, I can order them and have them picked up at the store. You can do that with nearly any retailer, and that's exactly what they're doing here. But instead of just anything that they sell day to day, it's going to be the physical video games. I know they've come out and they said it's not true, but I don't believe a word they say. I think this is absolutely what they're going to do, which is unbelievably sad news if you're a physical video game collector. If you're not, you probably don't care as much, although I'm sure there are going to be some people who are still going to be sad to see them go. However, it means that we have next to no options on the high street. I mean, I don't have a Game anywhere near me. Like I said, Cardiff is the nearest one, and that's a 25-30 minute drive, which I know doesn't sound like a long way, but if you just want to pop in just to see what they have, I'm not going all the way there just to walk around Game. I'm going to go elsewhere. But if there was one in my local town, I probably would use it far more often. And to see this go away now, no longer are we going to have midnight launches. Not that I ever went to them anyway, but they were an experience. The last midnight launch I went to was actually GTA back in 2013, and I still remember that queue being all the way down the high street. Okay, didn't want to be there, wanted to get the game, wanted to go home, wanted to play it, but it's the experience of the whole situation. And of course, I've worked in game stations, I've done my fair share of midnight launches as well, and again, as a member of staff, you don't really want to be there, but at the same time, you do get caught up in the atmosphere. And I've bought games at midnight launches that I wasn't really interested in. It was just because I was caught up in the moment and I could hear people talking about how excited they were. I was like, oh, go on, I'll buy it, even though I had no intention of ever playing it or didn't really know what it was about. So it is very sad to see this go. Let me know whether you think the Game spokesperson is just trying to sort of limit the amount of information that's out there until they officially decide to announce this, or whether you think it was a load of nonsense, it is a complete rumour, and you can't see Game stopping selling physical games. My personal opinion is that they will stop, and it will just become a board game plush digital code kind of place. Yes, you can order them off the website and pick them up in store, and that's probably going to be as far as it goes. I don't think they'll ever have physical games to sell, which is really, really upsetting. Now, I do have my fair share of ideas on how Game could completely turn it around and become one of the biggest high street game stores. If you want to see that video, let me know in the comments, and of course, post your opinions in the comments. What do you think Game could do to turn it around and become the biggest video game retailer on the market? If you want to check out a video from my series, you can click here, and until the next time, goodbye.